We all met him at different times. Me on May 26th, my sister on July 17th, and my brother on June 23rd. No matter when we met him, we all called him Dad. He was the first man we saw when we were born, although none of us recall it, but he was in our life from then on. My dad is a strong man who took pride in the fact that he always took care of his family. He has a total of 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. We love our daddy. When I was little, my sister and I would leave for California the day after school ended, and we would come back 2 days before school began. Summers consisted of trips to Disneyland, Universal Studios, Knott's Berry Farm, and Magic Mountain. Sometimes we would go on a cruise or take a trip to Mexico, San Francisco, or Oklahoma to visit our grandparents. We always knew that summer was going to be fun. Then, one summer, there was a wedding. My sister and I were in the wedding. Now, we had 2 mothers. When I decided to leave California and move to Virginia, he was so upset, but he finally told me after talking to some of his friends, he understood why I had made that choice. Then, in 2011, he came to Virginia for his grandson's graduation, and he stayed for a month with us. That was a first. We enjoyed having him here, but we could tell that his health was deteriorating. Of course, we thought our dad was going to get better. Then, on January 21st, 2012, I called him like I always did. He told me that he had lived a good life and he was tired, and it was time for him to go with God. I couldn't control the tears. He said that he had 4 to 6 weeks. My dad loved football. I was the child that accompanied him to Raider games. I was the one that watched Super Bowl games with him. During football season, we always called each other about plays that had just happened. So I decided that I would go home and watch the Super Bowl with my dad. I went back to California to spend some time with my dad and watch our last Super Bowl together. We sat and talked. He said he wasn't scared. I told him I wasn't ready to let him go. He told me that I would be all right. I had the opportunity to thank him for the life that he gave me, for being there for me and always supporting me. He told me he was proud of me and what I had accomplished with my life. I had to leave to go back to Virginia on February 8th, 2012. February 21st, I had a bad feeling. My dad wasn't talking anymore. I had to go back to Virginia, but my mother, sister, and brother were there. I kept calling every hour, and my sister would put the phone up to his ear for me to speak to him. He didn't say anything back, but my sister told me he opened his eyes. Then, when I called at midnight, 9 p.m. their time, my sister put the phone up to his ear, and he managed to say, "motor mouth." That was what he always called me. My mother laid in the bed with him. My sister and brother stayed in the room until 2 a.m. They finally fell asleep. On February 22nd, 2012, I woke up for work at 6:30 in the morning, 3:30 their time. I called, but no one answered the phone. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. My sister and mother were crying uncontrollably. The best and most important man in my life was gone.